I'm gonna make a Christmas tree. Don't really want one that I gotta store. Don't really want one that's bulky. Got some scrapped wood. Went to the bargain bin. Let's try it out. So the only thing that came at a little bit of a cost is this 3/8 threaded rod with a couple of washers and a couple of nuts. That came at about $7 all up. The timber that I'm using was from the bargain bin at a local hardware store. They call them uglies. So instead of $4 a length, they're about $1.20 a length. They're a little bit bent. Some of them aren't perfect, but this is, very customizable. You're going to dress it up in tinsel and whatnot, so they don't have to be perfect. Right here, I'm just cutting the base to length. I need 3 of these bases, so these are going to be 600 wide. So it's going to give us quite a big diameter, and I'm trying to use all the timber that I can. I don't really want to have to go out and buy any more of this timber, so I'm just cutting all these pieces at 2 centimeters shorter from the last one. That way I can have that really nice tapered effect from the Christmas tree. So this is essentially what it's going to look like. It's half the size of what it's going to be because I've got spaces that are going to go in here. These are going to be 42 by 42, same thing. I might try and make these circle. I'll see how I go in terms of jigs. All I see with this is sanding. There's going to be a lot of sanding. So initially I wanted to use my router to give everything a really nice round over. Don't really have a router table set up. I think it's going to be a bit dangerous when I get to these bits trying to route them, especially these bits. I might just do sanding for now. I've got my homemade disc sander, so I might even use that. So we're going to need to get stuck into this right away. A little bit hard to film the drilling of these holes here. Unfortunately, I didn't actually have the right size drill bit, and I really don't want to go back to the shop, so I'm using my Craig drill. This is probably too much of a tight fit on this threaded rod, and you'll see later me sort of struggling to get them in, but I made this little jig so I can drill all these holes at the same area, so you're not going to have bits of timber sticking out. And I put these spacers in there so I could double the height of my tree. If you want more branches, I would suggest not using the spacers, but you're going to be using twice as much timber depending on the height. For the 3 bottom legs to be at the same height, you're really going to need to make a little bit of a step here. So the first one is a little bit shorter, and the second one's a little bit longer. Then we just have these little steps that I've simply glued on. I'm not going to use screws or nails. Glue's absolutely fine. After a little bit of debating with myself here, all I did was give it a sand with 240. Just going to knock those edges off. I really don't need these fancy roundovers. Again, you're going to be dressing this tree up, so you're not going to have it just bare. Although, I would have liked to, but you'll see in a minute I didn't really have as much tinsel as I would have liked to. So lining everything up was a little bit of a pain in the backside. Again, you'll see here this threaded rod is way too tight for the hole, and I really struggled getting this in. So you'll see a super fast forward of me sweating my brow off trying to get these in. I used a larger hole here just so I can get that washer and nut in from the bottom so it's not, sticking out, putting it off center and unbalancing the tree. At this point, you can really configure this tree in any way you like. Again, if you want it to be a little bit more cluttered, I suppose, you know, some more branches, I wouldn't suggest putting those spaces in, but you're going to be using twice as much timber. So I put those spaces in with the idea of just using more decorations. Unfortunately, we couldn't really find ones that we liked, so I just grabbed these cheap ones. And my girlfriend had a bit of a giggle here because I'm dressing this tree from the bottom up, which pretty much not what you want to do. I haven't sort of assembled a tree since I was a child, so we got some cheap decorations on there, dressed it up nice, put some lights on there, and I think this turned out really well. If you want it to look a little bit more natural, you could paint it green. I chose not to. I'm sort of happy with it, and we might just go get a couple more packets of tinsel to make it look a bit better. And of course, the puppies get their present under the tree first. I'm really happy the way this thing turned out. It cost me under 20 bucks, and now I have a foldable Christmas tree we can store pretty much anywhere. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.